The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCmedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week in FRCmedia News, we recap this week's municipal election, and the counting may not be over. Those who receive heating assistance in Fall River are seeing delayed payments thanks to the federal government shutdown. And student veterans in Bristol Community College get the ear of the state's Veterans Secretary. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, November 6th, 2025. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. Voters in Fall River went to the polls on Tuesday to decide the makeup of the city's government for the next 2 years. A little over 19% of the city's eligible voters cast ballots in the races for mayor, city council, and school committee. Here's how they voted. In the race for mayor, incumbent Paul Coogan, looking for a fourth term in office, came out on top, but by a slight margin of only 225 votes over challenger Gabriel Boomer Amaral. 5,841 votes for the mayor, 5,616 votes for Mr. Amaral. The mayor understood the impact of the close election while speaking to supporters at the Our Lady of Light Band Hall on Quarry Street.
Well, that was something. This is my fourth term. And I've been in some really tough races, but you can see the political climate changing a little bit, and it might have caught us a little bit off guard. And maybe I did some things campaign-wise that we could have done better. But at the same time, a win is a win, and we appreciate it very, very much. And the city of Fall River has been very, very good to me, and I will never do anything to cast a dark shadow over the city. We are going to keep the city moving forward. We are going to work hard. And it's not because of me standing up here. That doesn't happen. There's no way. You have a team of people in government center. You have a team of people in your police department, your fire department, your DCM, your schools. It's all one big pinwheel of people that are pitching in to make the city a better place to live. I just happen to be mayor, but I just look at this as myself having the opportunity to work with people with a singular goal to make the city a better place to live. And because the voters decided to give me 2 more years, we are going to work diligently, hard, and honestly to do everything we can to improve the quality of life for the residents of this city. We have a great city. I was extremely upset with some of the things my opposition said about the city is failing, there's not a good thing going on. As my father would say, that's a bunch of hogwash. There's a lot of good things going on in the city of Fall River, and we're going to stick with those. We're going to accentuate. We're going to accentuate the positive, and we're going to keep the city moving forward.
First thing Wednesday morning, Mr. Amaral sought paperwork to officially recount the election results.
You're talking minuscule numbers. That's a close number. You're talking 3,300 almost mail-in ballots. There's things you want to check. I ran on transparency and accountability, and you want to make sure everybody's being transparent, and you want to make sure people are being held accountable, and you want to make sure the numbers are right. There's still hand-counted ballots that have to come in that, machines were down, things weren't going in, things were wrong. As Ryan stated, somebody might have spilt something on them. So there's some hand-counted ones that still aren't in there. So far, it just, when I'm going through and I'm looking and it's like, okay, 1A, 1B, 1C, Boomer 1, Boomer 1, Boomer 1. All right, we're at 4, Boomer 1. Those things aren't posted when we're watching it live. So it's like, I'm looking at, 90% of these say I won. He won some of the major ones, obviously the North End. We know that stuff, right? So when I'm looking at that, I just like to verify. You know, not that I don't trust the elections office. Ryan, his team are fantastic, but I've ran on the simple fact that I don't trust this administration. I don't trust the people they surround themselves with. So I'm going to question it and I'm going to verify.
He went on to say that he feels his message resonated with many city voters.
I think people finally caught on that somebody's not afraid to tell the truth, and I think that was a wake-up call for a lot of people. I think a new generation of voters is getting there. I don't think we're there just yet, and I just think people are fed up. So somebody was finally speaking for them and saying the things that they want to say or that they can say, but they don't feel they have the right audience or enough audience. And I think we got it out there. I think we got the message across, and it helped us. You'd be amazed how many people are willing to step up for the right reasons. You got that voter apathy where people kind of give up on the voting stuff, and I see that side of it. And there's times where I'm there, right? It's like, oh, nothing changes, nothing changes. But I saw some people come out that just, you know what, they had enough and they went all in to do what we needed to do, and that opened my eyes, and it showed me that I wasn't just fighting for me and just my family anymore. I was fighting for the average everyday person, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Fall River Election Commission Chair Ryan Lyons tells us the next steps Mr. Amaral needs to meet in order to seek that recount.
Under the general laws, for anyone who wants to petition for a recount, it has to be a candidate involved with that particular office. They have to come to see me to get the recount petitions first and foremost. They have to file a recount petition for each individual ward in the city. So in this case, there were 9 wards in the city of Fall River. So they would have to file a recount petition for Ward 1 all the way through Ward 9 and obtain a minimum of 10 certified signatures for each individual ward, get the petition notarized, state the reasons for the recount, check the box that they would like a hand recount if that is their request, and file it by the certification deadline on November 14th by 5 p.m. After that, if the petitioner files all 9 of their petitions before the certification deadline on November 14th, I have to provide notice to both candidates. In this case, it looks like the 2 candidates for the office of mayor with 72 hours notice, and I will set the date after that.
Mr. Lyons says if a recount occurs, it will be administered by his staff with oversight by representatives of the 2 candidates and will likely take place the week of November 17th. He went on to say that regardless if there's a recount, there are stringent measures in place to ensure each election is conducted fairly.
I always invite people to observe at the polling precincts on Election Day. It's a great way to learn about this process. Sign up to become a poll worker. That's a great way to really get your hands into the pie of elections, so to speak. There are so many layers when it comes to the guardrails of working at the polls. They're staffed by trained professionals. There's an armed police officer at every polling precinct. The election statutes are pretty stringent when it comes to applying for a mail-in ballot, when it comes to mail-in ballot applications being processed into our statewide database, when it comes to matching signatures on applications and with mail-in ballot applications. So, I mean, there's so many different layers and facets to election law that it comes to making sure that there is a lot of integrity when it comes to dealing with the various elections that are held in the city of Fall River and across the country in Massachusetts, for that matter.
When the city council is sworn in January, there will be 2 new faces on the panel. Here's how the city voted. Incumbent Cliff Ponte finished in first place with 5,856 votes. Newcomer Michael Canuel finished a strong second with 5,729 votes. 3 incumbents were next. Sean Kadim in third with 5,385 votes, followed by Andrew Raposo with 5,288 votes and Linda Pereira with 4,951. Christopher Peckham will return to the council, finishing 6th with 4,654 votes, followed by incumbents Paul Hart with 4,558 votes, Joe Camara with 4,478 votes, and Michelle Dion finishing 9th with 4,381 votes. Incumbent Brad Kilby finished just outside the top 9 and 10th with 4,314 votes, followed by appointed incumbent Ricky Tith in 11th place with 3,945 votes. The final 3 slots were taken by Nathan Sylvia with 3,780 votes, Jonathan Lima, 3,676 votes, and Lewis Mellon finishing with 3,110 votes. Second place finisher Michael Canuel says he was surprised by his showing and attributes his success to old-fashioned door-to-door campaigning.
You know, you go into it not knowing, especially I think there was no primary, so you just didn't really know where you stood heading into Election Day. You don't know what's effective. You know, I was online in the early mornings before work or late evenings. I just wanted to meet people where they were. If they're online, I want to put my message out there, knock on the doors. I visit the high rises and the seniors centers, and I think I'm really humbled by the result. I can already feel the weight of the responsibility and trust that people have placed in me, and I thank all of the voters for that. And I will work every day to try and make the city better for everybody.
Mr. Peckham says he'll be able to jump right back into the council after being away 4 years and feels his message of an efficient, effective government did him well.
People are sick of the tax hikes. They are, and that's something I campaigned on. And just because I won last night, I still sit here and say I'm a no vote on every increase. I'm a man of my word, and I will vote no on every increase that comes before me. I think people are just sick of spending money and seeing less in return. And I think that's why they have, gotten closer to the conservative side of this, the less liberal spending and more of the conservative values of smaller government and getting more for your money.
There will be 3 new members of the Fall River School Committee who will join 3 returning incumbents on the panel. Here's how people voted. Kevin Aguiar, the incumbent, finished on top with 6,335 votes, followed by incumbent Tom Corey in second with 5,628 votes. Newcomer Anna Riley finished third, 5,277 votes. Appointed incumbent Colin Dias will return to the committee, finishing fourth with 5,905 votes. Newcomer Chanel Stewart finished fifth with 4,375 votes, while Emmanuel Monis, also a newcomer, finished sixth and will also have a seat on the committee, finishing with 3,645 votes. Just outside the voting is John Sylvia in seventh with 3,411 votes, Mark Malacone with 3,006 votes, Randy Dudek 2,087 votes, and Shiv Thakur with 1,386 votes. One of the new members of the committee is Chanel Stewart, who tells us she's ready to focus on her priorities to move the district forward.
Class sizes, I know that that's not something that's going to be able to happen, overnight, or getting some extra staff inside those classrooms. I know it's a bigger thing. It's not something I can walk into tomorrow and, do, but it would be lovely to be able to start that process. I know some of that could come with the strategic plan, so I know there's a lot that's going to come into that. I'm involved in a lot of different ways within the district already, so I think with that, I think it puts me ahead of the game with being involved in a lot of things and knowing all the players, so I know most of the principals and stuff like that because I've been to most of their events and done a lot of their things.
All the winners on Tuesday will be inaugurated right after the new year. Former Fall River Mayor Will Flanagan continues to recover from the stab wounds he received at the hands of a lone attacker 3 weeks ago. He began speaking publicly about his experiences over the past week. In a telephone interview with Pam Martin of Fall River Government Television, Mr. Flanagan said his recovery is expected to be lengthy, and he remains thankful that he survived the attack.
I have a lot of doctor's appointments and nurses and therapists come and check on me every day, and we're doing things like physical therapy and occupational therapy and learning how to swallow food again. So there's a lot going on with the body at the moment, and all of the thank yous, the prayers from across the city and from beyond, from people who I knew to strangers, really moved me to tears, Pam. When I opened up my social media or my phone for the first time after waking up on a ventilator and being somewhat alert, I just started crying because, it just, it really moved me.
Mr. Flanagan remains positive as he looks forward to the future.
My mind is strong. My heart is strong. I don't foresee any PTSD. But who knows? I can't really. I'm not a professional. I can't comment on that. But it doesn't make me more aware of my surroundings. It does, and I hope people learn from this event. Whether it is being more more aware of your surroundings, or just taking a closer look at the mental health crisis happening in America and the lack of institutions for people who are suffering from mental illness, who are unable to be on the streets in today's society.
Last week, we brought you the story of how the federal government shutdown is impacting Fall River residents who receive food assistance benefits. Well, the shutdown is also causing concern for low-income residents who rely on assistance to pay heating bills. Citizens for Citizens administers the Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP, to a combined 13,000 to 14,000 families in Fall River and Taunton. The federally funded program runs from November through April. Executive Director Elizabeth Barabee says her office has been busy fielding calls from clients seeking an update on when they will begin to receive assistance payments.
People are really concerned that they really didn't understand the impact of the shutdown with regards to our program in fuel assistance. Because, normally there isn't a passed budget anyway. We usually have a continuing resolution and we have some funding. So it's usually business as usual, but this is definitely a different year. And I think that, folks have been understanding because it is out of our hands. But I think a lot of people are shocked. They're just thinking that we're just a little slow this year. Maybe we're receiving more requests for assistance. And although that is true, we are seeing an increase. The point is we can't send those eligibility letters out to vendors or our clients until the shutdown's over.
Ms. Barabee says even when the shutdown ends, it will likely be 4 to 6 weeks before CFC distributes heating assistance payments. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey last week made funds available to fuel assistance clients who are facing an emergency.
What constitutes an emergency is actually that you have no heat. So if you heat with a deliverable fuel such as kerosene, propane, or oil, and you have less than 1/8 of a tank or your tank is empty, that's considered an emergency. You would need to make sure your application is complete and contact us, and if it's hasn't been approved yet, we will find it and we will approve, and we can authorize 100 gallons of a deliverable fuel. If your heat is a utility such as gas or electric and your services have been already disconnected, that is also considered an emergency. So you would contact us and we're going to try our best, working hard to get your services back on before the real cold happens. And if you're not protected by the low-income discount through the utility, you're a new customer and you got a termination notice, that's also considered an emergency.
The State Department of Public Utilities has once again ensured that low-income residents do not have their utilities shut off because of lack of payment.
Every year, the moratorium usually starts November 15th, but this year, our Massachusetts network actually worked diligently with our utility companies, and we requested that they bring back the date for the moratorium from the 15th to possibly November 1st. And there was agreement of all the utilities in the state due to the shutdown and the circumstances we're facing now at the local levels trying to administer the program, that they agreed. So a letter was sent to the Department of Public Utilities because they actually have to okay it. And we received confirmation from the DPU, and the date was actually brought back to October 27th. So if you're on the low-income discount rate, you're a protected account from last year, and you receive a termination notice, your services are not going to be turned off.
Earlier this year, Republicans in Washington passed legislation that seeks to trim federal spending once a budget is passed. Will those cuts impact the fuel assistance program?
When the budget actually does get passed, we are hoping, or if there's a continuing resolution, we would be using the figures from last year's budget. So clients would probably get approximately around the same amount that they did last year. However, when the House and the Senate did their appropriations, there was a little bump up for LIHEAP. So we were extremely pleased. LIHEAP is a bipartisan program. There's support for this program both sides of the aisle because it's a life-saving program. In Massachusetts, obviously, we pay winter heating bills, but many of the states pay cooling bills. So, we're hopeful that the program will at least see the same amount of money as we have in the past.
CFC is still accepting new applications for those who may qualify for fuel assistance for the 2025-2026 heating season. Eligibility is based on Massachusetts' 60% of the median income, which for a city like Fall River allows more people to qualify.
Most of our clients are elderly or working people. So for a family of 4, you can actually make over $99,000 and still be eligible. For one in the family, it's over $51,000. So folks should definitely check our website at www.cfcinc.org. You can see the guidelines. There's the list of what documents you would need to apply. For folks who were on the program last year, whether you were eligible or denied, you should have received an application in the mail already, unless your heat's included in the rent. Those will be going out in December. But if you have not received your heat with oil, gas, or electric, and you haven't received that application yet, please call our office, because we can certainly just reprint it and we'll mail a new one out to you.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Seasonal driver helper, UPS, located at 1625 Robeson Street, seeks a full-time seasonal driver helper to help deliver packages to businesses and homes in the community. Job number 233-14116. Data reporter, Health First Family Care Center, located at 387 Quarry Street, is looking for a full-time data reporter responsible for validation and presentation of healthcare and operations data. Job number 233-14560. Precast Concrete Production Manager, Shea Concrete Products, is seeking a full-time precast concrete production manager responsible for supervising a workforce that operates yard equipment, performs maintenance, and operates in a precast concrete production plant in the Fall River area. Job number 233-16213. Account Supervisor, St. Vincent Services, located at 2425 Highland Avenue, is urgently looking for a full-time account supervisor. For more information, call 508-679-8511. South Coast Health, located at 1030 President Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. General Maintenance Worker, job number 233-15237. Copy Center Manager, job number 233-16899. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The city is gearing up for its annual Veterans Day Parade next Tuesday. The kickoff ceremony will take place at 12:30 p.m. at the War Veterans Monument in Upper Kennedy Park. The parade will step off at 1 p.m. from Kennedy Park down South Main Street to Government Center. A recognition ceremony will follow at Government Center following the parade. This week, student veterans at Bristol Community College held a town hall meeting with State Veterans Affairs Secretary John Santiago.
To sit back and listen to the feedback and concerns of student veterans is important. I'm a big believer in that leadership begins with listening, and these students here have shared their concerns, their hopes, their dreams, what opportunities that they need to move forward. And so I learned a lot, whether it's housing, affordability issues, mental health supports, so much more we can do. We've done a lot, but there's more to do, and I want to do it in collaboration with them.
It's incredibly important to have the Secretary come to Bristol Community College and listen. Having an empathetic leader that's hearing student veterans, hearing their experience, and bringing that information back to the Secretary, to the Executive Office of Veteran Services, only makes things better.
Bristol was designated as a regional host site for a Veterans Day event by the Veterans Affairs National Committee for Veterans Day. Activity on the Fall River campus will begin mid-morning on Tuesday.
We have a light speaking engagement from 10:30 to 11. We have a color guard, we have a naval aviator, a Navy SEAL coming to speak. We're going to have a commemoration for Armistice Day, which is the 11th hour of the 11th month, of the 11th day of the 11th month. And then we're going to go inside for lunch and have community. Dr. Harris is going to speak. Representative Alan Sylvia is going to speak. And then we're just going to cement our camaraderie, community, as service members, as veterans in Bristol County. And then hopefully going to leverage that luncheon to go to the Fall River Veterans Day Parade.
The Bristol Veterans Day event is free and open to the general public. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Hello and welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Ferb. Ferb is a 1 year and 4 month old golden retriever. He came in as a surrender with his brother Phineas. Very high energy dogs, being Goldens and being puppies. An active family would be best. If you own your own home with a yard, that's even better. They do not have to be adopted together. However, we are taking preference for those who do apply for both of them together. Like I said, very high energy, very much still a puppy. They are going to need some basic manners training. Keep in mind, like I said, very active, do need some basic manners. They're going to be a little jumpy still. They're not super great on leash. They do know sit. They are a little stubborn about it still, so they're going to need some practice. We are asking kids 12 plus just because they are still very jumpy and high energy. If you are interested in Phineas or Ferb or the two of them together, you can come on down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, and you can go online to foreverpaws.com to find our online application.
Today we have Chickpea. He is about 4 months old. He's a domestic shorthair. He came to us as a stray about a month ago. He was super shy when he first came in. He was very skittish, he was very afraid of people, he didn't really like being handled. So he had been sitting in our kitten room for a little while. He's been available, he just didn't like to show himself. We would probably prefer older kids that aren't going to be, pulling at him, running around, yelling, things like that. Anything that's going to freak him out. But I think with enough time, he's going to be very social, very playful, a very sweet cat. It took him not too long to get used to us, so it should take him no time at all in a new home. If you'd like to meet Chickpea, you can come on down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts. You can call us at 508-677-9154, or you can go to our website, foreverpaws.com, and click on the Adopt tab to see our adoptable animals and our applications.
That's all for this week's edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for more local news and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95 and the Fall River HD channel located on Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.